represents the cosmic cycle of life. Uh, I want to understand, what does Nataraja signify as an embodiment of Shiva in the form of a creator, destructor, an artist, and an embodiment of the entire cosmos. Can you tell us about that?
The word destruction or destroy is something that is terribly misplaced, according to me. Let us displace it with the cosmic cycle, as everybody understands, that the seasons come, seasons change. Breath comes, breath goes. The Prithvi, earth goes round on a certain axis and goes in an elliptical circle around the sun. And there are not one solar system, of which we are the smallest planet. There are innumerable, numberless solar systems in the ever expanding space, Akasha. Now, such a grand vision. And I think this is the speciality of the Indian mind, that while describing the majesty, they can encapsulate it with an image or with a sutra, with just it. Then you start dissecting it layer by layer, trying to understand it, and you say, oh, okay. So Nataraja is that image. It's beautiful. It's mesmerizing. It is very mystical. But on surface, it is just, you feel that now he's going to take a full turn. The raised left leg of Nataraja, the left leg is raised. The right is firmly planted on a dwarf figure. Many people ask, when you take the Nataraja pose, do you then complete the circle, or is it the circle that you have made, the pirouette, chakkar, and you have not yet put your foot back? What is it? This is a legitimate question. And so the whole image of Nataraj is all about the waves, the vibrations, imagining going back to what the West started calling the Big Bang. But we don't say Big Bang. We say from Brahman, that which is indivisible, indescribable, without form, without attribute, and yet there is that when becomes two, and it's so poetically described that in that THAT, all capital, te, arose maybe a desire to be two. So from the Dvaita, from the Advaita came the Dvaita, from one into two. And these two are the opposing principles, so that the balance is always maintained. For balancing, you need two. The vibrations of that movement, that moment, one into two, they started going forward. And these vibrations then create images with atoms. We are all atom. We are all atomic, actually. And when we dissolve at death, again, what we say, Parashakti, Param Shakti, Atma, Paramatma, actually we dissolve into cosmic atoms. Now, Nataraja, the image, if you remember, there are four arms the super divine. So the upper right arm holds a damaru, that small instrument, cylindrical instrument, damaru. Now that are the sound vibrations. These are the first sound vibrations, because vibrations, sound. And in the left upper arm, where hand he holds the fire. These are the vibrations creating light. Why fire? That fire removes darkness and gives light. It removes darkness and gives light. And the right lower arm, hand, is shown in the Pataka Hasta. We call it Abhaya Mudra. Abhaya, Bhaya is fear. Abhaya, no fear, fear not. That is the benediction. And the left lower arm is thrown across the torso, which is we call in a Kari Hasta posture. Kari is elephant, like the elephant trunk. And the palm is pointing downwards towards that figure, that small dwarf figure, and Shiva's right foot stamped on it. Why? Because from light we have knowledge, we have light of knowledge or buddhi or pragya. But that little dwarf figure is symbol of ignorance as opposed to knowledge. And therefore it is all misshapen. And Shiva firmly is pressing on the spine of that dwarf figure, because we know the Kundalini rises through spine, and that Aghata, that Shakti Pata has to be given, that stroke of Shakti to remove, to straighten the spine, which means to remove ignorance and enlighten the dwarf, called Apasmara Purusha. Muelagan is called in South India. The left leg is raised in a very beautiful posture. And this, that once ignorance goes, the evolution happens. The uplifting of universe, of cosmic life starts. Very simply put, this is the image. And then, of course, you have the matted, the hair flying also. And here, the river Ganges, Ganga. Now, Ganga is actually the flow of energy. The flow of energy. You need energy to enliven the creation. Ganga is not just a river. Of course, it's a river for us in India and one of the big rivers in the world. Gam gacchati iti Ganga. Anything that flows is Ganga. And this is the flow of energy. Without energy, there's nothing. And the moon is there as a symbol of the planetary systems, which Shiva, this Nataraja figure, points to, upholding all the planetary figurations, configurations in space. And the third eye is the mystical eye. We all have it. And that is the Yoga Diksha. That is what the Dikshit people who are seekers and seers, they get from their guru when the guru presses here and awakens as it were, your inner eye, third eye, the mystical point, which is, I think, in Christianity also, when they baptize and all that. Now, apart from that, there are several other symbols. But coming to your basic point, the creation begins with the vibrations. Creation continues with the constant flow of energy. And where the knowledge arises with the fire, And creation goes into dissolution. It is dissolved before it is resolved again and comes into being. Anything that is has to dissolve again to blossom. So it's a constant movement. And that movement is shown through the, as if he's about to turn. And that is the dissolution. We dancers have, I mean, I find every time I look at Nataraja or I dance or I teach, I do find newer symbols and newer meanings. So that is not a static posture. It is a posture like the eye in the storm. In all these hurricanes and cyclones, they have the eye, the center point, around which things are happening. Now, this moment, which was seen with the mystical eye of some rishi, some muni, was that moment when, in the middle of the world, Shiva. It's a fantastic. I haven't seen anything like that, and I've traveled to world museums, smallest, biggest, like in Nicosia in Cyprus. They have 8,000-year-old figurines, Mother Goddess, and in Ankara, and in Latin America. I've been to all these places, and I always go to the museums. It's amazing that in ancient India, mother goddesses were there everywhere, because all the old civilizations were, yes, centered around the mother figure. It's only here that Nataraja has come into being as a male protagonist of this entire movement of creation and dissolution. And within that space, so many things happen. Eons, Kala Chakras, what we call, no? The cyclical eons happen. Ah, amazing.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.